Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Jason Schmidt about Grease: Rise of the Pink Ladies, premiering April 6th on Paramount Plus. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, PD Beats.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's starting to kind of sink in, I think, that it's coming out. You have the premiere, you did the press junket, but it's pretty crazy, right? How quick it's coming out soon.
It is. It's been months since we wrapped, but truly went by like a snap, man.
Yeah, I know. It's my favorite thing about this show is how cinematic it is. This is a TV show, basically, you know, the prequel of one of the greatest musicals of all time, and it's a TV show dropping on Paramount Plus, and it is one of the most cinematic, unbelievable things I've ever seen. I can't even imagine shooting this thing. Like, did it feel cinematic as soon as you kind of got on set?
Absolutely. It was very clear, like once we got on set, how good of hands we were in. Every single director and cinematographer put in so much effort and work for the show, these huge cranes. It was just simple things too. You know, we have these shots walking down the hallway. It could be so easy to put two people by a locker and like call it a day, but we're doing these shots. We're walking down the hallway, people are crossing in front, we're turning, we're panning all the way around, like these shots that took a little extra time on set, but I am so grateful for the product that paid off with it. Yeah.
Did you expect the color palette to be what it was? I'm sure kind of you have conversations and you kind of know a little bit what to expect to get prepared for everything going back to the certain era and everything, but the color palette on this is just incredible and I can't wait for people to see it.
Yes, it's gorgeous. You got to see glimpses of that from just the costumes and the sets and a little bit of like a few shots you'd see here and there from the color grading. But I don't think we knew how beautiful it would end up in the final product.
I mean, the whole, like every episode that people are going to see, they're going to be dropping on Paramount Plus, but especially the first episode, which is always important, right? Because you're setting it up because there's like familiar territory and unfamiliar territory because we know about Grease, but we don't know about these characters we're going to meet, so to speak, because it's the Rise of the Pink Ladies. Did you think about that at all, that you were in kind of a unique situation when you were cast for this?
Yeah, absolutely. It was we're tasked with it's a prequel, so we're introducing the Grease world in a way, even though obviously in our world it is already introduced, but you're getting the T-Birds and the future Pink Ladies and the Soches, and I mean in our scripts we have all these labels of these different people groups because that's the big concept of the show. Yeah. But then we are tasked with coming in and making it apparent who these people are right away. You know, as soon as they're on screen, we need to know who the Soches are, who the T-Birds are, and so on and so forth.
I want to know a little bit about the audition process. I want to know if you have auditioned for Buddy, and I do want to know about what the song you chose to sing for the audition was specifically, if you're able to share that with me.
Yeah, absolutely. The audition process was intense, but of course totally worth it in the end. The first song for the first audition, we submit the tapes, and the song I decided to sing was Longest Time by Billy Joel. He's one of my favorite artists. I was thinking like doo-woppy 50s, you know, the da, oh. So I did that, and clearly it went over pretty decently. Further down the process, we were tasked with singing a Justin Tranter song. Obviously, Justin Tranter wrote the iconic music for this. So I sang Sorry by Justin Bieber. That was something Justin wrote on. So that was a funny one. And with that one, they were like, really act it. We really want you to dig into the acting of Sorry. And that was kind of a funny experience. But you'd be surprised, other people had Cake by the Ocean and things like that. And we got to see some tapes. People did some great acting performances in these songs.
Oh, it was cool because at the press junket, we asked some of the cast what they did. I mean, Maxwell did Billie Eilish, Nicholas did Gavin DeGraw, like all the different kind of songs was really cool to hear.
Yeah.
I feel like different songs kind of show different ranges too, right? Like I feel like that the process of picking the song would be a difficult one too, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's this big, I mean, if you do I do a lot of musical theater type auditions, so you kind of get used to just being like, all right, this will work, you know. But it is at the beginning, you're kind of like, okay, I have to pick the perfect song that fully encapsulates the character. Eventually you don't really have time for that. You just have to, all right, longest time. That works.
Is it safe to say that Jason Schmidt's first love was musical theater, or one of them at least?
Oh, absolutely. I actually think it was just music before that. I didn't do anything with it. I started musical theater when I was 9. I was in The Hobbit the musical, which was
Nice.
written by the community theater that I did. It was like 3 hours long, and it was, the audience would make up their own opinions on how it was. I personally had the time of my life doing it, and that's why I continued doing it. But before that, I did some music. My grandma was a piano teacher, so me and all my cousins took piano from her, and my dad loved rock and roll, and so I think there was this initial love for music itself. Yeah.
I went to a school that was really known for their arts, and in the elementary school we had like the big operetta, which was the big show and everything. So we did like the Mikado and Iolanthe and everything,
Oh,
and I
amazing.
acted like small like chorus for those. But when I was in high school, I was like stage crew, so I was like follow spot operator and light crew and making the sets. I have to say, one of the things I loved about musical theater, or like just theater in general, Jason, is the morning of a performance, there's this like energy and excitement in the air, right? Not even but like an hour before going on stage. Like there's this energy in the air, right? Of like the day of a performance. Do you know what I mean by that?
As soon as you wake up, you're like, all right,
We're performing tonight.
That's in the air. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a crazy feeling. And I wasn't even in the musicals. I was the light
Yeah.
operator.
Yeah, I know. It changes the whole course of the day. And I mean, in high school for me too. I mean, I was calling out of school the day afterward. It was a whole event, a whole week event.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And no, I can't wait for people to see, Rise of the Pink Ladies. Okay, so buddy, here's the thing, man. This is in my opinion, I could be completely wrong. This is a tricky character because it is a tricky character because he's the captain of the varsity the team, and he's the big athlete. He's the popular kid in school, and there's things that kind of happen that they want to kind of put this kind of like villain, bad guy kind of label on him, but then there's a change in gears and it's not that at all and everything. Like, what was that like kind of seeing in the script? Because I can't even imagine. That's a difficult one, man, this character.
Yeah, I think initially auditioning for it, there was this worry of what this character might be or could be, depending on. It's easy to fall into the trope, but like I said before, it was very clear when I got on set that I was taken care of. Like I talked to the writer and the showrunner, and listen, I was ready to be the villain anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like that's coming on the set. I was like, oh, this is my job. But reading the script, I felt really taken care of because they created this beautifully complex human being that was these kind of negative things that they needed to further the story, but was all of these positive things as well. And I mean, I think I relate to Buddy a lot, and I made some mistakes in high school and stuff that I had to come back from, and I had to say, okay, I believe myself to have this big heart. I believe myself to be a good person, but if I believe this, I need to start making decisions that reflect that. And so it was kind of beautiful to play Buddy and get to live that out, and hopefully get to give people who are maybe going through it themselves a little blueprint of how you can be honest with yourself and how you can learn to accept that you made some mistakes and learn to move forward from them.
I can't wait to see all the character kind of analysis of Buddy when the show kind of releases. I just can't wait. I can't wait to see that, because I honestly think there's an argument to be made. There's a bunch of characters that kind of have this, but this is one of the most kind of intriguing, complex characters on the show, because you keep watching episodes and you're not sure if there's going to be a change, if he's going to make a decision that you don't agree with. You know what I mean? It's like one of those, right? It's
absolutely.
Like
you're walking through a minefield.
The Buddy minefield. What was the mindset going back in time? Because I feel like there's a lot, right? What he looks like, how he talks, how, like, what he's wearing. You know what I mean? Like the hair, it's grease. What is that mindset going back in time?
I think the mindset was a little bit trust the script. You know, there's a lot of things where there are certain ways to how they talk, where they resonate from, things like that. But also, if I say the words in the script, I'm in the 50s. You know what I'm saying? They did
Yes.
their homework with that. Then for me, it was kind of doing my research. There was this actor in the 50s, Tab Hunter, who was kind of Buddy in the 50s, and he was this put together golden boy with this big smile and this charming charisma. And so I watched a lot of interviews with him and a lot of his projects to kind of get the basis of what somebody like this might be like in the 50s.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot. I think the aesthetic, and again, I just can't wait for people to see. This show is so stunning and so cinematic, and I couldn't believe my eyes, man. Like, you know, you had your premiere and you watched the first 2 episodes. I can't even imagine seeing those on like the big screen. Like, that's the craziest.
It was wonderful, and the sound mixing and stuff in the big theater was ooh, it was good.
Anything you can tell me kind of fun on-set stories in regards to some of the numbers? Like, I mean, you know, Grease is the World, like that kind of came out a couple of weeks ago, like that first sequence, right? So people were able to kind of have a sneak peek in anything. Is there anything you could tell me? Is there any kind of like, was it a lot longer than people think? Was it actually a lot shorter than you thought it was for that sequence? Anything specifically fun fact-wise you could share?
I'd be curious to see, like, take a poll and see how long people thought that would have taken. Because I think either way, I've heard both actually. It took about 3 night shoots to do the drive-in sequence.
I feel like that's a lot less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, 3 days. So like 12 plus hour days. But yeah, I would assume that I've heard people think it would have been a lot longer than that. I guess the kind of behind the scenes thing is it was cold that night. We were up in Vancouver and it wasn't into the summer yet. So we were all out there in our summer clothes and dresses and t-shirts. And every time we'd cut, we'd get like a big jacket thrown over us. And we had like little hand warmers and stuff like that. So it was cold, but it didn't take as long as people might've thought. Yeah.
I have kind of a general, like, kind of musical kind of adaptation question for you that you can obviously relate to Rise of the Pink Ladies, but I think it's an incredible time because we're seeing a lot of incredible musicals be adapted into TV shows and movies right now, and I just feel like theater fans and content fans are just eating it all up, you know what I mean? Like around Christmas time, Matilda the musical on Netflix, then you have like West Side Story and like Tick Tick Boom and all these kind of musicals as well. What's that like, kind of being part of a time where, you know, your show is kind of in like coming out at a time where there is a big appetite, there is a big interest. Like people want to listen to soundtracks, people want to see it. Like I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of grateful. I grew up and musicals didn't feel like in high school, musicals didn't feel like the coolest thing I could do. And I'm grateful to see the world kind of reflecting the love for it that I have. And I'm grateful that there's a place for it, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping people eat our original music up just as much as they have been the rest of the stuff that's been coming out.
And there's these booms of like content that kind of just like take the world by storm. Like there was that musical boom that I kind of noticed. There was that horror movie boom I noticed. Like there is that boom. Like they've always been around, Jason, but then there's just kind of this like window, right? Where it's the thing, you know what I mean? Like,
it has become huge. And as far as I know, I think things are going to keep coming out, musical things. Yeah.
But it's just can we give a shout out to the crew? Could we give a shout out to the crew?
Oh my goodness. Yes, please. The cameraman and oh my gosh. I mean, our creative team as well. It was a lot of work that went into this, and we had a wonderful crew up there that absolutely killed it every day with a positive attitude too. That was a big thing.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's premiering April 6th on Paramount Plus, Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. Jason, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was
your Instagram account is just your name, right? Jason Schmidt?
Jason.s.Schmidt.
Ah, okay. So they can check it out. And I'm sure the cast is just eager to put the BTS content out there. I'm sure there's going to be some.
Got files locked away, my man.
It's always like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, this has been Pop Turnitive. YouTube.com/Pop Turnitive for previous episodes. You're going to be able to catch Jason Schmidt as Buddy in Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, premiering April 6th on Paramount Plus. Until next time, Jason and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Turnitive. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Turnitive on YouTube. Be sure to like Pop Turnitive on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.